What's going on, guys? Zach coming to you from the Underground Strength Gym. Finished up a great day here, got some training in myself, and I want to talk to you about specialty bars, why I use them, and give you a little tour of not even just the specialty bars, but the different dumbbells we've got, the different kettlebells or bells, and why I started using them. So if you've listened to me before, I've spoken about how maybe 10 years ago or so, if you went into a college weight room, even just a regular gym, it would just be straight bars. It was very rare to find a specialty bar. You know, these Swiss bars, these neutral grip bars, safety squat bars, cambered squat bars, very rare. In my days when I was at some of those, early day hardcore gyms, you'd find the cambered bar and guys were benching with it to extend the range of motion on the bench press. For me, maybe because of the stress on the shoulders from wrestling, I didn't feel good at all with that bar. It actually hurt me. But I remember, I think sophomore or junior year, my left shoulder started giving me problems, just like my right knee. It was kind of the beginning. And I remember I never saw anybody dumbbell bench with neutral grip. And so I felt like someone was stabbing my left shoulder. I turned my palms neutral and I was able to bench. And that was the beginning of me learning to experiment with different training positions before barbells came out. Now I want to show you over here, guys. See, that safety bar in that corner is the original Hatfield bar. I mean, this was retaped actually by Barbell Buddha, my man Chris Moore. You could see the old school type of padding, that shiny red, no real handles here. And back then, I saw one at the Woodbridge Health and Racket Club. My buddy went there, and he would squat with the safety bar, and then the hands would go inside the squat rack, and it was like an assisted squat. Now, I didn't know it was such a thing as a Hatfield bar. We're talking 1990, guys. I was 14 years old. And what's happened is, I've seen this from my days of beginning to train athletes out of the garage in Edison, is I had only straight bars. Then I eventually invested in my first Swiss or neutral grip bar, whatever you want to call them, and a safety bar. And I really invested in it because I was listening to Louis Simmons, buying his VHS tapes, and he was talking about attacking the body from multiple angles, attacking weak areas. But really the athletes I was training, maybe because being a strength coach, it was a little bit of a new thing. You didn't find a strength and conditioning gym on every corner. You'd probably have to drive a good 30 minutes. I think back then it was me, Joe DeFranco, Jason Ferrugia. I don't think I knew anybody else really training athletes at the time. So when I started getting those athletes, I think we just attracted a different breed of a kid. Kids showed up, they could do bodyweight squats with great technique, pull-ups, push-ups. They were athletes. Now we've got kids that they can't even get their shoulders in position to put a straight bar on their back for squats. I'm talking kids that never even trained before. Why? Very frontal, lots of wrestling, lots of computer, lots of sitting in school, lots of baseball, lots of frontal, no mobility, no stability, no strength. And now what we're doing is we're utilizing these barbells to put them in maybe a less compromising position, which maybe is not naturally compromising, but everybody's different. And nowadays, lots of kids are basically, their bodies are screwed up. So check it out, guys. Here's my first safety squat bar from Elite. Very tough bar, 75 pounds. We've got different kinds of barbells. This is actually my first ever Ivanko bar. I bought that while living out of my parents' house. And I remember, I think it was like 350 bucks. Now, keep in mind, my first barbell was from Costco, the $99 cap bar, 300-pound set. And I was like, whoa, your barbell's 350 bucks. He's like, yeah, what bar are you using? I go, I think it's called a cap. He goes, you forgot one letter. I go, what's that? He goes, R for crap. That 300-pound weight set, the 99-pound bar, bent. I was doing like sets of 15 to 20 on squats, 15 to 20 on deadlifts. Just picked up these T-grip bars. It's my first real power bar. Got that one from Elite. You can see the fat revolving collar there. I love this bar, and I want to show you guys the other bars in the holder. And all of my gyms have these, including Rutgers. We've got our neutral grip. Here's the other T-grip bar. I'm loving it. It's much harder than the regular Swiss bar because it has a revolving collar. These do not. And that revolving collar, what's interesting is it forces us to stabilize much harder. I told the kids, I go, you got to pretend like you're breaking a stick, like when you were a kid, to engage your lats, to engage the shoulders. I try to teach the kids that there's no such thing as a upper body only lift, a lower body only lift. We're working the body as a unit. So when you're squatting, your abs are braced, your back is squeezing, your feet are gripping the floor. Same thing on this bar, it makes them work harder. It engages and activates more muscles. I've got a thick bar right here, okay? Great for the grips. Sometimes I'll deadlift with that bar. I'll press with the bar. I'll go lighter and have the kids do clean and press with it. I know it's hard to see right in here, but got too many barbells, but you guys have seen us do, can you see my finger? Squats with that zigzag bar. Zercher squats with it. I originally purchased that from Elite, and it was an accident when we squatted with it. It fit into the crook of the elbows nicer than a straight bar. It felt better on the biceps and the elbows, allowed us to go heavier. Right here, probably one of my favorites, the MFer bar, the functional trap bar from Intech. I love it. You guys can see my YouTube videos. Just use the search function and type in Intech trap bar. It's got that open back so I could do bent over rowing. Sometimes I'll do a full workout with that. These dumbbells here are from Blair Academy out of a barn, thick handles on them. Even these older dumbbells have different grips, forcing the hands to work harder. You guys can see here the Thomas Inch replica, sand-filled, 70-pound block of steel here. For rowing, center mass bells, where I also grab here, not just the handles. And you can see this bar here, guys, is an old curl bar, tricep bar, that I picked up from the gym that closed down. And the guy that owned that gym was an old school HIIT trainer, Nautilus, Mike Mentzer inspired. I went to his gym. He was moving, retiring. And he had machines that were kind of spin-offs of the Nautilus machines that went out of business. And I couldn't even remember their names, but I picked up that bar and that Hatfield bar as well. So with these specialty bars, it's a couple things. If you're training athletes, you need them. For my wrestlers, I don't use the straight bars very often. If I'm working with an athlete who's had a shoulder injury or surgery, I utilize those neutral grip barbells. Same thing with squatting. They're not going to use the straight bar. They're going to go with the safety bar. Now, some athletes feel great after surgery. They could continue training utilizing the straight bar. But what I found is for longevity purposes, you know, training must feed the sport. So we are strength coaches, performance coaches. We are feeding and improving the athletes at their sport. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to take away from their sport. We want to make their sport better. So if that wrestler is always getting tweaked out here, and the Wizards, the baseball player always getting pulled back, shoulder getting pulled back, well, I want to bring those shoulders in and not overuse that area. A couple other things is it keeps the athletes excited. They get excited to try new equipment, new barbells. And as a strength coach, you got to realize, you know, the athletes are not as fired up as you are about lifting. They love the sport. Some really love the training, but you have to find ways to trick them into the love of it. So specialty bars, specialty dumbbells, specialty bells, all different kinds of tools that allow you to utilize the same exercise but a different variation of the exercise. These are all pluses that you should consider as a coach because really it comes down to, can I do things to make it more enjoyable, give that athlete more energy, more excitement to keep working harder and getting better. So safety, efficiency, the ability to perform an exercise where maybe they weren't able to, And everybody's built differently, from the genetics to their sport experiences to all kinds of other variables. So once you start, whether you're in the college setting, independent setting, once you start getting the ball rolling with training athletes, then I say you've earned the right to get specialty bars in there. So when I start a new location, I don't like to go and outfit it to the gills right away. Although I did do that at Scotch Plains. We got the thick bar, the specialty bars. We accumulated a lot of that stuff from the Edison location. But starting out with just the basic barbell, teach them those movement patterns. At the college setting though, I'm lucky. I'm pretty lucky because we got all the things that like I've got here. It's basically another underground strength gym. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoy this video and give you some ideas to expand your repertoire. Even if you're not a coach of others, I always say you are a coach, because if you're training, you have to coach yourself. You got to learn your own body. That's it, guys. undergroundstrengthcoach.com. Hit the links below. A lot of free resources and opportunities for you guys to get better. I could train you, educate you, a lot of opportunities. So dig in, make it happen.